Hey, we're at the combine, Alex. We're here.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like just yesterday, Georgia was eating frog legs on the daggone sidelines. You know what I mean? Destroying TCU in the national championship. We're here. We're right in between that and the spring games, which is right in front of us. This is for us that really like to dive into this and comb through. This is the good part. This is the fun because you start picking out each individual player, how you feel about this guy that I've been watching for these years. I love this time, Alec. I know you're with me on this.
Oh yeah. Well, and as a guy that loves doing all the mock drafts and everything too, this is by the end of the combine and the end of these interviews, these teams are like 85% sold.
Oh yeah.
This is basically okay. We can knock these guys off our boards. We have these players available, and then it's okay from there. Where do we want to go? Like, this is the most important part of the off season for these college kids. Oh yeah, the main thing is it's a week long. That's the big thing for me. We saw some of the big boys go today, and then you'll get the offensive side of those guys. You'll get running backs, quarterbacks. And all the fine details too. That's my favorite part is watching, for example, the offensive line drills. I like bench press 40, all that. Cool. I watch the footwork, if they stay low, how their punches. I watch all of that stuff. For me, I could care less about the physical part. Let me see the on-field stuff for all these guys, the corners and how they flip their hips, and receivers and how they break, and quarterbacks and how they time their throws with somebody they're not used to. This is all very important stuff, and I absolutely love watching all this stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. And you're going to see some stars out there. You're going to see some of the top guys. We've talked about it most throughout this year. Obviously the Jalen Carters, Williams, some of those guys might not participate, but you got some of the Peter Skoronskis, Keon White, Jordan Addis. Some of those guys are going to be around there, especially for the interviews and also kind of getting into the action. But let's kind of go into it a little bit. Who are you looking for, to see, something, show me something? Who needs a little bit more tape to push them over the top for you?
To me, it's these quarterbacks that are actually going to sit there and throw. Bryce Young's already said he's not throwing, but you'll get CJ Stroud's in there throwing. Will Levis is throwing. Anthony Richardson is throwing. Even some of the lower guys, the Tanner McKees, Jaron Halls, all those guys. I want to see how you do with guys you're not comfortable with. Because pro day, it's your script, what you feel comfortable with, your routes, your receivers that you've gone to battle for years with. This is all guys trying to make it, so everyone's giving it their all, and I want to see how they react to this situation. To me, I'd say Anthony Richardson the most, just because my thing with him is he didn't really have anybody at Florida this year,
right?
So I want to see him with some top level talent around him at the combine and see how he throws, because he's got the best release in the draft. Yeah. That snap and it's gone. And he's got a rocket arm. So if he has a good combine and throws really well here, he might lock himself in as a top 10 pick.
Yeah. And it could happen. I mean, his star has been rising a lot recently, man. From being an 800 to 1 odds to win it to being an 80 to win or an 8 to 1 odds to get to the first. I mean, he's definitely been showing it. Look, he has that star ability. He has. There are certain times in those games. If you watch those games, I remember one where he's scrambling over to the right and he kind of pump fakes like he's going to throw it, and the guy is charging him and stops, because he doesn't want to get the roughing the passer, and then he rolls back out and hits the guy in the corner. And
I think that was Utah week 1.
Yeah, I was like,
this year,
and it was like, wait a minute. But then, people start saying, can he read a defense? Can he? He has the ability to take over a ball game, and it is right. You want to see that. I also just want to see guys like Fresno State quarterback Haener,
Jake Haener,
Jake Haener. He's got
a big sleeper for me.
Right. He's gotten so much attention as of late. we know we've been doing it. He's been doing it all year at Fresno State. So I'm glad he's kind of getting some of that attention. And I'm glad, they're finally looking at him. And as I've talked to you about him since we first started talking, Aiden O'Connell out of Purdue, he is one of those guys that is in my opinion, he was a stud a year ago. He's been a stud all the way throughout his career. His kind of numbers kind of fell off a little bit this past year, but his team struggled. But I love what he brings to the table. So I really want to see how he does. But yeah, those are the kind of the sleeper guys, some of the undercover guys. Any other main positions? I know we're going to talk running back in a minute, but any other positions? Wide receiver, offensive line is always your go-to.
I always watch that one very closely. For me specifically this year, I'm going to watch DBs very closely just because Lions have a big need at corner. Okay. And I think we're going to go there pretty early. So I'm going to watch these top tier guys. How do you move? How do you flip your hips? How do you run with a guy? Like that, all that stuff I'm going to be watching extremely close.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. For me, obviously, we always talk, we go to our position. You were O-line, I'm running back. So obviously, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more today. But for me, it is wide receiver. It is absolutely wide receiver and tight end. So wide receiver, not for the bigger name guys, but for some of these guys like a Josh Downs, for some of the lesser known guys that I want to see if, their ability, we've kind of monitored it all year, but I want to see if that, translates into these type of situations like we were talking about. And tight end, I'm speaking, you already know. We need a tight end. Logan Thomas did not come back from that injury too well. And, we got Cole Turner and Ravana last year, and that did not pan out. So that is something, that's definitely a position I'm going to keep my eye on.
Thanks for watching. If you like that clip, be sure to check out the other great content from the Let's Talk Football community. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more great content like this becomes available.